The thunderous rumble of artillery shells rattled the jagged ridge like the wrath of some ancient god, dust and grit sifting through the air as Sergeant Mitchell Townsend pressed his weathered cheek against the sun-warmed stock of his M14 rifle. His calloused fingers brushed the makeshift copper coil he'd jury-rigged the night before, a humble twist of 16-gauge wire encircling the gas system, an audacious hack on a weapon forged for the United States Marine Corps. Through the crisp crosshairs of his red-field scope, the North Vietnamese army positions shimmered like mirages, mocking the 800-meter chasm that separated them. No standard M14 could bridge that gap, not by Marine Corps doctrine. But Townsend harbored a secret his brass-bound superiors hadn't yet grasped. The enemy wielded Russian Dragunov SVDs, ghost-like rifles that had been reaping American lives from ranges once deemed untouchable. It was August 7, 1967, in the mist-shrouded hills 10 miles south of the demilitarized zone in Quang Tri Province, South Vietnam. Townsend's scout sniper platoon, embedded with the 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, the storied Dark Horse outfit, had been dispatched to claim high ground overlooking a vital valley. Intelligence whispered of a massive NVA buildup, poised to unleash hell on U.S. lines. The date etched itself into Townsend's soul, not merely for the miracle about to unfold, but as a grim anniversary, exactly 1 year since his boots had sunk into the red mud of in-country. 12 months of witnessing brothers bleed out because their iron couldn't stretch far enough to bite back. Beside him, his spotter, Lance Corporal Franklin "Jumpy" Riley, a lanky 19-year-old Oregon farm boy with a knack for reading the wind's sly whispers, fidgeted in the stifling heat. "Staff Sergeant's gonna skin you alive when he spots that contraption," Riley muttered, his voice a threadbare whisper amid the distant booms. "Court-martial for sure. Tampering with government gear? You're playin' with fire, Sarge." Townsend's gaze never wavered, locked on the enemy nest like a hawk on prey. He ignored the warning, his breath steady as a metronome. For NVA shadows slunk into view, entrenching with predatory grace, too distant for artillery's lazy arc, too swift for radios to summon salvation. The lead sniper, a silhouette etched in green fatigues, unfolded his bipod, oblivious to the valley below where dozens of Marines would soon march into his kill box. Townsend's finger ghosted the trigger, dialing in windage with the precision of a man who'd long ago bartered innocence for survival. "What the hell are you?" Riley hissed. "Watch," Townsend said simply, and broke the silence with a thunderclap. The M14 bucked against his shoulder with a savage unfamiliarity, the restricted gas system snarling like a beast unchained. Through the scope, the impossible unfolded, the NVA sniper jerked, a crimson bloom unfurling on his chest, before crumpling into the underbrush. Riley's jaw slackened as Townsend cycled the bolt, stiff, protesting, but obedient, and zeroed the second target. Crack. Another shadow fell. In those fevered seconds, no one in the platoon could foresee how one sergeant's forbidden tweak would shatter the war's brutal calculus, sparing over 2,000 Marines from a slaughter pen. Nor could they imagine the unlikeliest architect, a black sharpshooter from the cotton fields of Mississippi, once deemed unfit to cradle a precision rifle. Born April 18, 1944, in the sun-baked poverty of Greenwood, Mississippi, Mitchell Townsend was the third of 5 in a sharecropper's brood, where dreams wilted faster than bowls under a relentless sun. His father, Elijah, a decorated World War II vet from a segregated tank battalion, returned to Jim Crow's iron grip, his heroism evaporating like morning dew. Yet Elijah sowed seeds of defiance in his son, "This country's flawed as sin, boy, but it's ours to mend. Earn your due, even if they make you beg for it." The family's sole firearm, a battered Remington bolt-action, became young Mitchell's unlikely tutor. By 8, he could thread a .22 bullet through a squirrel's eye at 50 yards, a prodigy his father honed in secret clearings, whispering, "The Lord's gifts ain't for hidin'. Wield 'em proud, complications be damned." Segregated schools starve him of resources, but Townsend devoured math and physics like forbidden fruit, courtesy of his high school teacher, Mrs. Eleanor Jackson. She smuggled advanced texts past prying eyes, igniting a fire. Science ain't just facts, Mitchell, it's the why behind the world's secrets. No man can steal that from you. Graduating in 1962 amid a landscape of dead-end drudgery, Townsend eyed Kennedy's integration push as a lifeline. Defying his mother's tears but buoyed by Elijah's nod, he enlisted in the Marines at 18, storming Parris Island's gauntlet where drill instructors wielded racism like bayonets. Weapons qual changed everything. As jeers rained, "Boy, you sure know which end spits lead?" Townsend silenced them with 48 out of 50 expert hits, bullets dancing holes in targets that humbled white recruits. Staff Sergeant Raymond Wilkins pulled him aside. "Color don't count if you shoot like the devil's own. You've got a place here, son." Though sniper paths stayed barred to most black Marines, Townsend's scores funneled him into infantry excellence. Re-enlisting in 1966 amid Vietnam's escalating roar, he joined the Dark Horse Battalion, rocketing to sergeant on grit and gears. Quang Tri in 67 was no tidy battlefield but a verdant inferno, where DMZ, neutrality, masked NVA incursions like veins of venom. The battalion guarded Razorback Ridges flanking Highway 9, arteries for enemy supply snakes. By spring, Soviet Dragunovs, semi-auto scalpels slicing to 800 meters, tilted the scales. Colonel Thomas Richards' March dispatch chilled spines. "Hostiles pick us off from afar, our replies falling short. Casualties mount unseen." The M14's 500-meter ceiling birthed a ghost-round terror, 17 Dark Horse dead by June, psyches frayed as patrols hugged gullies, flinching at shadows. Official fixes, M40 rifles, counter-sniper drills, trickled like molasses, rationed to white majority units. Townsend, a temp fill-in for the Scout Sniper Platoon in July, seethed. "Combat don't read regs," he'd muse. Nights blurred into ballistic fever dreams, dissecting gas dynamics by flashlight. The M14's port siphoned propellant for cycling. What if he choked it, shoving more fury downrange? Enter Corporal Dennis Martinez, supply whisperer extraordinaire. Copper wire, 16 gauge. Quiet like. Townsend bartered smokes and silence for the 75-cent spool. In a bunkside vigil, he bound it tight, a primitive valve throttling gas bleed, trading smoothness for speed. Reliability? A gamble. Explode? Possible. But 5 ghosts from a botched patrol haunted him deeper than any UCMJ clause. Spotter Riley caught the ritual. "Sarge, that's regs in a blender." Townsend grinned wolfishly. "If it sings, they'll pin medals on the mess. If it chokes, drag me home yourself, Jumpy." Dawn of August 7th cracked like a promise. Briefings buzzed, 2,000 reinforcements funneling through the valley, NVA fangs bared north. Townsend and Riley humped to OP-3, a camouflaged scar on the eastern ridge. Idle shattered at 1438, 6 NVA ghosts cresting, Dragunovs glinting like scythes at 820 meters. "Radio please for fire support." Denied, too far, air en route. Below, Marine columns snaked blind into the trap. Townsend's world funneled to a pinpoint. Breath caged, pulse a drumbeat, he cradled the beast, holdover cranked, wind quartered. Squeeze. The rifle spat fire with a venomous snap, recoil a hammer blow. Impact, the lead sniper danced death's jig, felled at biblical range. Riley's awe fueled the frenzy, 2nd, 3rd, 4th kills, each a thunderbolt defying doctrine. The ridge emptied in panic, NVA phantoms fleeing as valley ghosts marched unscathed. Rifle smoking, action fouled, Townsend wiped sweat, metal or irons. Flip of the coin. Debrief was a tribunal. Staff Sergeant Walter Cunningham's scowl deepened at the wire. "You Frankenstein a Corps rifle?" Captain Gerald Morrison and Major Thomas Bradford dissected logs, maps, the hot-barreled enigma. Townsend unpacked his heresy, gas physics, velocity math, in terms that humbled officers. "Saved hundreds today," Bradford conceded. "Violated 7 regs. Reprimand, inevitable. But assignment? Battalion R&D, refining the hack into a machined marvel. Weeks blurred, wire to regulator, tests to triumph." By September, Townsend kits, whispered, never etched, armed divisions, M14s clawing to 900 meters. Operation Medina proved it, snipers dueling Dragunovs on equal footing, casualties slashed. NVA tactics crumbled, ghost rounds faded to myth. Division tallies, 2,000 lives reclaimed, morale a phoenix. Townsend's medal arrived veiled, Navy achievement with combat V, technical valor, SAN specifics. Sniper school beckoned, barriers breached. "I fixed what broke me watchin'," he'd say. Riley, forged in that fire, climbed to master gunnery sergeant, evangelizing field-borne fixes. Tour ended amid Tet's chaos. Townsend traded jungle for Quantico's ranges, instructing before mustering out in 71. Civilian life in Atlanta's auto mills honed his gears into engineering gold at GM, family a quiet anchor. Silence cloaked his saga, until 1989's vet reunion, where Colonel Cunningham clasped his hand. "Wire man. You outgunned Commies with pocket change." Cunningham's 1991 Naval Institute opus cracked the vault, birthing case studies, plaques, honors. At Quantico's 1997 gala, a copper relic gleamed, courage, knowing when not to obey. Sergeant Mitchell Townsend, USMC, August 7, 67. Townsend, graying gracefully, demurred, any Marine with eyes would have seen it. His tweak seeded the M40A1's lineage, adjustable blocks echoing that crude coil, and a doctrine of bottom-up brilliance. In Iraq's alleys, Afghanistan's crags, it echoed, empower the edge, harvest ingenuity. Townsend slipped away June 12, 2011, pancreatic shadow claiming him at 67. Eulogies swelled, Riley's rang truest, in war, right trumps rank. Now enshrined at the National Museum of the Marine Corps, his medal and prototype whisper to cadets, innovation isn't lab-born, it's mud-soaked, rule-defying grit. Townsend's 75-cent salvation, copper against empire, teaches eternity's drill. When lives teeter, does doctrine save, or daring? In Quang Tri's echoes, we hear the answer. Share this tale, let it arm the next Ridge Riders with more than rifles, with resolve. What rule would you break to rewrite the stars?